At the law firm of Bilu and Bilu, we can help you if you are facing foreclosure. Don't lose your home due to foreclosures by the bank or mortgage company. Call the law offices of Bilu and Bilu at 954-596-0669. You have rights and we can help you exercise them. At Bilu and Bilu, your first consultation is always free. If your home is underwater or you are behind on your mortgage and you're confused about what to do, we can help. Call our office today, 954-596-0669 or 1-877-BILU-LAW. That's 1-877-BILU-LAW. At Bilu and Bilu, our lawyers have more than 20 years combined experience in real estate law. The banks have lawyers, and so should you. The lawyers at Bilu and Bilu can help you modify your loan or apply for a short sale while they defend your case in court. Contact the lawyers at Bilu and Bilu today so you can sleep easy tonight. Your home is your castle. Trust the professionals at Bilu and Bilu to defend it for you. The law office of Bilu and Bilu handles foreclosure defense in Broward and Palm Beach and all 67 Florida counties. Call the law offices of Bilu and Bilu today at 954-596-0669 or visit us on the web at bilulaw.com. That's BILULAW.com.
And we are back. If you'd like to call us at the station here, it's 888-565-1470. We have the coolest guest in studio. We are live here. Listen, another sad subject. Another sad subject.
Yes.
Foreclosure defense. And we are in the state. This is one of the primo states for foreclosure. If you would like to watch the show right now live, you can actually go to our guest, Gil Bilu.
His homepage.
His homepage.
Bilu and Bilu.
No, but the website is www.bilulaw.com. You can actually go there right now and watch us live. Gil, welcome.
Welcome to the studio.
Hey, thanks for having me. It's great to be here today.
Listen, he's got such a great radio voice.
I know, he was just telling me he's from New York.
Listen, this was a score for us because we work with lawyers all the time, and we wanted to make sure because listen, in your business, you hear stories about some of these big law firms that are been investigated by the Attorney General for modification and foreclosure. You guys are so clean, and I've heard so much about your law firm. So this was a score for us.
Absolutely.
To have Bilu and Bilu on our show.
Well, I'll tell you one thing that really I think drives the focus of what we do is I like making money. I'm not going to lie about that. But we really care about our clients, and we put their best interests first.
Right. And I was just telling you before we came on, I actually went through this myself. I actually short-saled my house. And I was debating whether or not to do the foreclosure or short sale. So tell everybody what the benefit is of doing a foreclosure versus doing a short sale.
All right. Well, I'll tell you, for the average person, what are you looking for if you're stuck in a situation where you're in foreclosure, you haven't paid the mortgage, you're not going to be able to keep the house. You can't afford it, you have to move for your job, whatever the situation is, you can't afford to keep the house. Well, Florida is what we call a full recourse state. What does that mean? That means the bank forecloses on your house. They get a judgment for everything that you owe them, plus the interest you missed, plus the real estate taxes they paid, the force-placed insurance policies they put on your house. They get a judgment for a whole lot of money, and a lot of times it exceeds the value of your home.
So you're liable for all those excess fees?
Exactly. We're a full recourse state.
Wow.
So one of the top things that we try to do when we negotiate a settlement to a foreclosure case or when we negotiate a short sale is to get a waiver of deficiency. And that means that's it. It's the end. Once we have a judicial sale, if it's a foreclosure, once we go through the short sale, our clients don't owe anything at the end of the day.
So that alleviates you of everything?
Right. Precisely.
Wow. Because I was going to ask, I went through a short sale, and I did not know, because it's stupid. If you go through a short sale foreclosure, you must use an attorney.
Yeah,
and I
I'm
did
sure
not.
some people try to do it themselves.
Yes.
Well, here's what happens. When you wind up doing it yourself, or you have maybe an inexperienced person doing it, even an experienced realtor and an inexperienced attorney, they don't always know to push for that waiver of deficiency. We always push for it. I can't say that we always get it, but we push for it as hard as we can. And what we want to do is see you walk away from this situation clean and literally to make a fresh start. Because what happens, and I have a lot of clients like this right now, they did a short sale, and they didn't get into a waiver of deficiency, and somebody went and bought that debt, or the bank went and got a deficiency judgment, and all of a sudden the next thing they know, their wages are getting garnished because the bank has a judgment for the spread between the value of their judgment and the value of the property. Which, I've done short sales where we're discharging a $250,000 loan on a condo that's worth $50,000. Well, can you imagine doing that short sale without the waiver of deficiency, and you're now stuck, you've lost the property, you've had to move, and now you still owe $200,000. Why bother going through the process?
So this has happened to me, so I understand. So how long does it take? Well, first of all, I know that there's a time frame that they could collect from you. So what is that time frame?
Well, there are two time frames that we're looking at. The first time frame was actually just shortened. It used to be a bank had 5 years after the sale of your property to come after you for the deficiency, to come back to the court and say, hey, we have a judgment for $300,000, we have a property worth $200,000, we would like a judgment for $100,000. They used to have 5 years to do that.
Has it been extended?
No, it's actually been lowered. The Florida legislature brought that down to 1 year.
Okay, by the way, I'm safe. I didn't use an attorney.
However,
stupid me.
There is still a 5-year statute of limitations on notes. So that means the bank could come back and file another lawsuit just on the note,
don't tell
on the
me this.
unpaid portion.
Don't tell me this, Gil.
Listen, it
I'm
might
just
happen.
stressing me out. I'm having a hot flash.
Well, let me ask you, Rudy, did you get a 1099 at the end of the year? Or was it just this year that you did it?
No. This is a while ago. This is like 7 years ago. Am I good?
You should be good.
Okay.
See, you should.
And I'll tell you what,
Okay.
Renee.
Otherwise, I'm going to have to call you.
Listen. I normally don't work for free, but if you send me a copy of the closing paperwork, I'll take a look at it and I'll help you put your mind at ease.
Okay.
I'm happy to do that.
Somebody
Thank you. I
was
appreciate
knocking on
that.
the door last night at 2 a.m. BA. What is BA? Oh, Bank of America.
I was going to say something, but I'm going to be nice.
Nah, tell them you're at Weiss Funeral Home.
Now, that's funny.
So, how long does it take to get this off your credit?
Get it off your credit. That's interesting. What's going to happen, what we found, first of all, everything that we know about credit reporting is known through reverse engineering. Why do I say that? Because the FICO score that you get, what does FICO stand for? Fair Isaacs Corporation.
Right.
They actually developed an algorithm that takes all the information that's reported to your credit bureau and spits a number out the other end. And they won't tell anybody how it works. They won't tell Experian, Equifax, or TransUnion how the algorithm actually works. And it changes depending on the credit situation in the country. So what we've found is that the biggest thing that affects your credit is the number of delinquencies and how recent they are. If you ever looked at a credit report, you'll see that you've got a couple of columns there, 30, 60, 90, 120,
Right.
120 plus. Each of those are how many times you've been that many days late on a payment. So you missed your first mortgage payment, you get 130. You missed the second one, you get 160 and 230s. You missed the third one, you get 190, 260, and 330s, so on and so forth. Now, if that's 6 months before your credit's pulled, that's going to have a much bigger effect on your credit score than it will 6 years. What we've also found is that they've really devalued defaults on secured loans for housing, on mortgages. So that somebody who pays all their other bills but hasn't paid the mortgage in 2 years can actually still have a pretty decent credit score. I had somebody come in and tell me they pulled somebody's credit in a situation just like that, and they pulled it at 630, which is pretty decent credit for someone who hasn't paid their mortgage in 2 years. Now, if they'd missed car loans and credit card payments, that would have been another story. But because they paid everything else but that, the weight that the credit reporting agencies and Fair Isaacs puts on missing your mortgage is not as great as it was, let's say, 6 or 7 years ago, where if you missed a mortgage payment, forget ever getting another mortgage.
So what's the benefit of short sale versus of having a foreclosure?
Well,
I mean, which is worse for your credit? I would think foreclosure is.
The foreclosure is going to show as a little bit worse because you're going to have a judgment that stays on your credit for 10 years.
And how about short sales? How long?
Short sales, because there's no judgment, hopefully there's no judgment, and if there is a judgment, it'll eventually get vacated. That no longer stays on your credit report. But what you're going to see on your report are two things that are going to hurt you. One is all those delinquencies, the 30, 60, 90, 120 that I was just talking about. The second thing is that now that account is going to be reported as settled for less than the full amount owed. That means you've settled with them. Like if you didn't pay your credit card and you paid them $5,000 instead of $10,000, they would report that as settled for less than the full amount owed. But that's better than an unresolved delinquency. That's better than showing that you owe $200,000 for 7 years. So we're talking about limiting damage.
So can I ever buy a house again?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, when? Because it keeps showing up.
It's going to keep showing up.
But,
I think.
But wait a second, Gil. This is a long time.
Right.
Okay, this is like 8 years now. That's
if
a
you
long
talk to me
time.
off the air, I'll put you in touch with a mortgage broker that can probably help you out.
Okay.
Now, I want to know, there's a term I saw, deed in lieu of foreclosure.
Deed in lieu of
What does that mean?
foreclosure. Okay, so what happens if your short sale doesn't work out? You've got a condo in terrible condition, everybody around you is in foreclosure, nobody wants to buy it. You've had it listed for 3 months. Well, we can then turn to the bank and say, listen, bank, we're trying to sell it. Here's a copy of the listing agreement. Here's a copy of the MLS listing. We're listing it at market value. We cannot find a buyer. Will you just take the property back? And we've been able to negotiate a lot of those with the lenders. It's becoming less and less popular because the real estate market's really heating up. And I'll tell you now, it used to be we would put up a listing for a short sale, and I work very closely with my realtors. When we would put up a listing for a short sale, and it would take weeks, months
To buy
to
something.
find a buyer.
Yeah.
Now,
Because
we can
the
have a buyer
process
for...
takes so long, though.
Well, that's the closing process. That's everyone. Just to find a buyer used to take months. Now, we put it up on MLS. The next morning, we're sitting in an inbox full of offers.
Wow.
Because the market's heating up here. Right now, if you're a real estate investor, and I work with quite a few of them, now is the time to really, really get your deals. Now is the time to buy. It's a fantastic opportunity to come in, buy low, hold on to it, rent it out, make it cash flow positive, and then sell it in a couple years when the price goes up again.
So I got to talk to Gil off the air.
So, now, your office is in Pompano, but do you just do Broward? Do you Palm Beach County?
The main focus of our practice right now is Broward and Palm Beach County, but we've represented clients in just about all the 67 counties in Florida.
So if you're in Martin County, you can take care of them also. We're going to go to break.
Take a quick break.
Quick break. We'll be right back.
At the law firm of Bilu and Bilu, we can help you if you are facing foreclosure. Don't lose your home due to foreclosures by the bank or mortgage company. Call the law offices of Bilu and Bilu at 954-596-0669. You have rights and we can help you exercise them. At Bilu and Bilu, your first consultation is always free. If your home is underwater or you are behind on your mortgage and you're confused about what to do, we can help. Call our office today, 954-596-0669 or 1-877-BILU-LAW. That's 1-877-BILU-LAW. At Bilu and Bilu, our lawyers have more than 20 years combined experience in real estate law. The banks have lawyers, and so should you. The lawyers at Bilu and Bilu can help you modify your loan or apply for a short sale while they defend your case in court. Contact the lawyers at Bilu and Bilu today so you can sleep easy tonight. Your home is your castle. Trust the professionals at Bilu and Bilu to defend it for you. The law office of Bilu and Bilu handles foreclosure defense in Broward and Palm Beach and all 67 Florida counties. Call the law offices of Bilu and Bilu today at 954-596-0669 or visit us on the web at bilulaw.com. That's BILULAW.com.
And we're back. If you'd like to call and you've got a question about foreclosure, modification, we've got one of the greatest.
We have the
I'm not allowed to
expert.
say the best.
No, but we have
one-
the expert.
Yes, Gil Bilu. 888-565-1470. That's 888-565-1470. Gil, what's the process once someone has served papers? God, that is just such a scary thing.
a
That
horrible
guy's
feeling,
sitting
yes.
there hiding in the
Absolutely.
bushes probably.
Absolutely. And, we have a lot of clients that wait until that happens to come see us. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's better than waiting till long after that happens, but it's better if you come in earlier because we can start helping you plan. So here's the basic thing that's going to happen. Here's the timeline you're looking at. Process server comes, knocks on your door. They've got a summons and complaint for you. I always tell my clients it is illegal to dodge service. They're going to find you eventually. They're going to serve you. Take the service.
So you can't lock
deal with the
yourself in the
problem
bathroom
headline.
for an hour.
You can, but at the end of the day, that's going to limit your settlement options because you're going to have really, really, really made the other side upset.
Right.
And that's really going to limit a lot of your settlement options.
Oh.
Stand up, at the risk of sounding a little misogynistic, deal with it like a man. Stand
Right.
up, take your lumps if you got to take your lumps, meet it head on so that we can come in and we can get you the relief that you need.
So don't do, Steve-O's not here. I promise you, it's not me.
Precisely. Worst thing to do. Because then you're just dodging service, which technically is a crime. So you get served, you have 20 days to file a response, 20 calendar days. People always are like, oh, it's 20 business days. No, it's 20 calendar days to file
really?
a response.
Okay. That's interesting.
So what happens if you? I'm going to go with what happens if you don't. It's kind of like a flow chart. If you don't file your response, the bank is going to file for a default. Default means that you haven't answered in the time period that was allotted to you, and now you are forever barred from making another appearance in this case and trying to defend yourself.
Wow.
It's a bad situation to be in
Yeah.
because it's basically your. If you ever seen the People versus Larry Flint, when Larry Flint's sitting in the courtroom with a piece of duct tape over his mouth, you can't say anything and you can't defend yourself. Now, if you hire somebody like me, it's another story. Because if you go with that first scenario, if the bank's attorneys are really on top of their game, and they're getting better and better every year, then you're going to be out of your house in 6 to 9 months.
So you get to live there for 6 to 9 months without paying your mortgage, though.
That's nothing. That's bupkis.
It's bupkis. I love that word.
It's nothing. Now, if you fight a good foreclosure defense, and look, I can't be in this to just waste time. That is not ethical. I
Right.
do know, however, that my clients have a benefit there, so I'm in no rush to bring this litigation to a head.
Oh, absolutely.
In most circumstances. Sometimes there's another story going on.
Right. Because if you're getting into that situation to begin with, obviously it's a lack of funds and not able to pay
Right.
a mortgage.
And what we do is we work with our clients on a flat monthly fee so that they can afford it. There's no surprise bills from us. If I put 5 minutes into your case or 5 hours into your case
The
in a
same
month,
price?
you're paying me the same thing. And I understand the situation that my clients are in, and that's why we structure it that way.
Right.
This way you're not hit with a surprise bill.
Are having financial problems
Yeah, if you had
that are coming to you. They can't make their mortgage payment, but they need someone like yourself.
Right. And I'll tell you, when this first started happening, people came to me, they said, I'm being sued for foreclosure, what can I do? And I'm like, I don't know, did you pay your mortgage? They're like, no. I'm like, I don't think there's anything we can do. And by luck, I happened to look into something for a subcontractor for one of my friends. And I pick up the file in the courthouse, and I look at it. I didn't even know he was in foreclosure or not. Turned out there was a summary judgment hearing in a couple of weeks. Which
And
means
he didn't know?
He had no idea. He'd been out of the state.
Wow.
So he'd been served by publication, no idea what's going on. So I come in, and I say, wait a second. The bank has filed an assignment of mortgage that says that they took ownership of this note and this mortgage 6 months after the lawsuit was filed. Now, Eddie wasn't doing a lot of litigation at the time. This was a couple of years ago. Well, and even I know from when I did a lot of litigation, that's not right. So I walked into the motion for summary judgment. The bank was expecting to get a final judgment with a dollar amount and a sale date. And I walked in with a motion to dismiss. Guess
And
what?
what happened?
Case got dismissed.
Good for you.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's why you have to call Bilu and Bilu. That's why.
And give me your phone number again.
954-596-0669, or you can look us up on the web, get a little more information without having to ask us, www.bilulaw.com. That's BILULAW.com. Our consultations are always free.
I was going to ask
We're
that.
happy to sit down with you, work through your options. And I'll tell you, one of the things I get when somebody walks out of my office, especially after they've been served, you're scared.
Yes.
You don't know where you're going to be sleeping. Is the sheriff coming tomorrow? Well, I walk you through the whole process. I say, look, this is how it works. The response I get from people that walk out, even if they haven't signed a retainer and still thinking about what their options are, what they want to do, is I can breathe a little easier. I know what's going on because
You know what to
really,
expect.
it's scary.
Yes.
For most people that come into my office, this is the first lawsuit they've been involved in, and now they're looking at losing their home.
Right. That's what I'm saying. I went through it,
You
so I
went through it,
understand.
so you
yes.
know.
It was very scary.
Right. I literally the question I get most often, especially from people, when it's in their home, they're like, is the sheriff just going to come and put up a sign and throw me out? I said, no, you're going to have plenty of notice unless you stick your head in the sand. If you stick your head in the sand, you've got no one to blame for yourself. And I'll tell you this, I was talking about people coming in early. The earlier you come in to deal with your foreclosure, the earlier you hire me, the less you're going to pay. Because if you've got to come in after the bank has a judgment, I've got to put everything else I'm doing. I've got to put the other 350, 400 foreclosure files just in Broward County that I'm dealing with on the side to deal with your problems. You need that type of service, you're going to pay extra for it. It's not me being mean, it's not me trying to teach a lesson.
It's reality.
It's reality. This is how we
is.
have to run a business. So the earlier you deal with it, the better, because what happens? You come in, you've been served, you've got that 20 days to respond. I'm a busy person. I cannot get that response done in 20 days.
Yeah.
I ask the court, I say, look, I make a motion for extension of time. I need a little more time to get this done. Usually we wind up getting a response out 60, 90 days down the road from there. We try to start off with a motion to quash service of process, technical term.
Which means what?
Basically, it means that something wasn't done right.
Okay.
Or we file a motion to dismiss. Motion to dismiss says, just based on these papers, nothing else around this, just based on what you filed with the court, your list pendants, your complaint, the copy of the note, the copy of the mortgage, whatever the plaintiff has filed, there's something wrong with it that means that this case should be dismissed. Now, it's going to take me a good 3 or 4 months just to get that motion heard. Once that motion is heard, the judge is either going to grant it and give the bank 45 days, 60 days, 90 days, however long it is, to get their ducks in a row and file an amended complaint, or they're going to deny my motion and give me 30 days to file an answer. So now I get to file an answer. What's an answer, right? We file an answer and affirmative defenses. An answer is you go through the complaint, I admit, I deny, or I don't know. But what's an affirmative defense? Renee, you have kids?
Yes.
Okay, what happens when you catch a kid doing something red-handed and you say, so did you do that? And the kid knows that they did it, and they know that you know they did it, and when they say, yeah, but. Well, what comes after but?
My kids know better.
Right, but yeah, but.
I'm just telling you.
And she locks them out of the house, too.
Yeah, I locked them in their room.
So, yeah, but is an affirmative defense. Right? It says, I did it, but here's why I'm not responsible. Here's why I'm not liable. And we go through very technical things. There's a part of your mortgage that has a notice provision that the bank has to send you what's called an acceleration letter. It's got a whole bunch of things that have to be in it. They're never perfect. So we say, hey, this was faulty. It's a prerequisite to filing a foreclosure suit. And so now the whole thing has to get thrown out. We also argue, like I was explaining before, well, the bank didn't have standing to file this lawsuit when they filed it. They didn't own the note yet. Now, these are issues ultimately that are going to win a trial for us if we're going to win a trial. And I'll tell you, not every case is great to take to trial, but I have some cases that I love taking to trial. I can't win.
Okay,
What
so
does
what's the
that
purpose?
mean?
Yeah, I was going to say, what's
What
the
does that
purpose
mean
of
if you win
taking?
a trial?
Yeah.
Okay, so what happens if
So
you
they
win a trial?
foreclose either way, though, right?
No, if I win, they don't foreclose. They don't get a judgment. I get a dismissal.
Dismissal, so they get to keep their house even though they haven't paid?
They
So I don't
get to
understand
stay
that.
in their house, but the bank now has the opportunity to file the lawsuit again. They can start all over because every month, according to the 5th District Court of Appeals in a recent opinion, every month you have a continuing obligation. Now here's the real question that I don't know has been answered yet. I certainly haven't seen anything addressing it. When the bank filed that original lawsuit, they accelerated the loan balance. They said, we're now saying everything's due. Well, if they lost that case, or they dismissed that case, when they come back with the new suit, there's a question of whether they can accelerate again. Because here's what happens. Let's say they can't. Now they're only going after the payments they've made since that last case was dismissed, right? They might wind up with a judgment for $25,000. Somebody then goes and bids on the property for $500,000 because that's what it's worth, or $200,000.
Right.
Well, now we have what's called a surplus. The bank gets their $25,000 and change, and there's $175,000 sitting in the court registry. Guess who gets that?
Who?
Well, the next lien holders in line, so the second mortgage or somebody's living in
oh,
property. And if
okay.
not, guess who? The homeowner.
Yeah, that's
The
right.
very famous
See,
case.
I should have gone to him. I am so stupid.
I got to ask something because we're starting to run out of
Go
time.
ahead.
I love, because I've actually heard the response. Some people feel like they have a moral obligation, right?
Yeah.
That they got to pay the note.
Right.
What's your response?
All right, so contracts are just that. You do not have a moral relationship with your bank. They don't care about you. You don't care
They
about
don't
them.
care.
They don't care.
They'll close
It's all-
on you in 2 seconds. They'll take your house
It's
away.
all about the Benjamins, right?
Yes, of
So the way I see it is you have a legal obligation to make your mortgage payments or deal with the alternative. Well, if that alternative winds up leading to you living in the property for 7 years, and then the bank settling with you at trial, which we settle a lot of our cases, waiving the deficiency, giving you cash for keys, and giving you a 120-day extended sale date, then it's not the end of the world. You made a good choice for yourself. The way I see it, it's like Isaiah Thomas. Isaiah Thomas was general manager for the Knicks, right? And then he got an offer to coach at FIU. Well, he really wanted to coach at FIU, so he had to make the decision to breach his contract with the Knicks or to work at FIU because the NCAA wouldn't let him do both. Well, guess what? He said, I have a moral imperative. I have something I want to do. It is worth me paying, I think it was a $2.5 million penalty, something like that, to go and work at FIU and not be the general manager for the Knicks. And since you brought it up on the last show, LeBron made his choice.
Yeah.
I think it was to make his wife happy, but LeBron said, I could keep my contract or I can exercise my free agent option. And he said, it makes more sense for me, for whatever reason, to exercise that free agent option. Same thing
1
here.
minute left. Okay, why don't you give your phone number one more
Yes.
time and your address?
All right, we are at 954-596-0669. Like I said,
Easy to
consultations
find, too.
are
I've been
always
up there.
free. Very conveniently located between the Turnpike and I-95 on Atlantic Boulevard in Pompano Beach. You can always visit us on the web to get more information, www.bilulaw.com.
You must call them. If you're going through a foreclosure or a short sale, loan modification, or anything, and you have any questions, call their law firm.
Yeah. Next month, Gil's going to be back. I want to talk next month about these pictures I see of Obama saying the assessment, that you can basically do whatever you want. I know that's not right. So we've got some. I could have gone another 30 minutes. Easy.
I know, absolutely.
Give me your phone number one more time.
One more time, it's 954-596-0669. And now, if you're really listening and you're that cheap, 877-BILU Law.
Perfect.
Thank you, Gil. And thank you so much, and thank you, everybody, for listening today. And hey, without you, there is no us. Peace and love, everybody.
We're out.
So.
Thanks for tuning in today to the Ask the Expert show with Steve-O and Renee. Tune in every Friday from 4 to 5 p.m. while some of the top local experts in their field from Broward and Palm Beach counties educate you in the areas of law, health, financial, and home improvement. You can also call our offices at 888-574-6999 to become an expert on our show. The opinions expressed on the preceding sponsored program were strictly those of its hosts, guests, and callers, and not necessarily those of this station, its staff, management, or sponsors.